Should be working by now, right? Well, maybe I can move this over a bit and give myself a bit more light. Okay, today I'm doing this outside because I'm cooking some squash and I gotta make sure I keep the fire going. Anyway, so today I was cleaning out my canal, doing some mud sucking. And, while I'm doing that, there's not a lot to think about, just moving the thing around, sucking up some mud, right? So I was thinking about other things. Let me move my little roof here. Let's fix the light a little bit. Not that the lighting has to be spectacular. I don't know if that's any better, but I can move this over a bit. Okay, anyway. So I was, sucking mud and thinking about things, as I often do. And I was thinking about how, during the holidays, you kind of get a chance to stop and it's a good opportunity to stop and think about your life and plans for the future and things like that, because a lot of times you have some time off. Maybe you don't have a lot of responsibilities. People are in a good mood. It's a good time to think about things you can improve in your life, and maybe you have to think about some things that are wrong and blah 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 blah. So I'm thinking about all this stuff, right? And I was thinking about, as many of you know, how I had a lot of difficulty with the mother of my children earlier this year, and we got it worked out and it's fine and everything. And because of that, a lot of other people told me their stories about how things went for them in similar circumstances. So the basic circumstance in all these stories I heard from people was like, I met a woman, we got married, had a family, had kids, and then she one day said, "That's it, we're getting divorced. I'm taking the kids, and you're going to be paying me through the nose for the rest of your life, and misery will ensue." Right? So in a lot of these stories, misery ensued, and it was just absolute nightmare. All they can report is just it's a miserable, horrible situation. But in some of these circumstances, it turned out okay. And I was thinking about, and you have to understand, I'm just sucking mud while my brain is just going all over the place with this. So I was thinking about what is the common thread? What is the thing? Where's the pattern? Like, why did it work out okay for these guys and these other guys just got run over by a bus? And of course, this isn't taking into account all the circumstances where they're, a man and a woman split up and they're both reasonable and figure things out and whatever, blah blah blah. That's a separate situation. I'm talking about the situation where the woman is like, "I am going to destroy your life and I want to hurt you and I want to take everything from you." That circumstance. Sometimes it works out okay. And so in the circumstances where it worked out okay, it was basically the same story. The woman says, "That's it. I'm taking the kids, and you're going to be paying me for forever, and I'm taking all the stuff, and blah blah blah." And the guy just says, basically, "No, I'm not doing that. That's not what's happening." And she's like, "Oh no, that's what's happening. You don't have a choice." And the guy's like, "Oh no, I have a choice." And she's just like, "Well, the court is going to make you do it." And like, "No, the court can't make me do it. They can throw me in jail, but they can't make me pay you forever. You can try to collect alimony from me in jail, or maybe I'll go kill myself. Maybe like whatever the other circumstance, whatever the alternative is, I'm not doing what you said. There is zero chance that's happening." And at some point, the woman, I mean, there were a lot of different details in the few circumstances that I heard like this. But basically, at some point, the woman realizes that she's not going to get what she's asking for. She's not going to get the money. He's not going to work for the rest of his life to pay her. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's like he would rather die than that. And then she'll become very reasonable, because at that point, the circumstance, the situation is either the woman raises the children totally alone by herself and the man is gone, or she cooperates with the man and her children still have a father. That's how the situation is framed at that point, and it totally changes from yay, I'm going to win the lottery. Someone's going to pay me for the rest of my life. It completely reframes the entire thing. All right, go away. What?
I like to go away.
No, go back inside. I'm talking about stuff. You're throwing off my. Anyway, I'll talk. You can come out in a bit. I haven't really thought this through, so it's hard to make a monologue. All right. Anyway, I'm going to ignore you. So at that point, the woman just became extremely reasonable because she realized she's not gonna get that I won the lottery situation. That's just not available. So now it's like, okay, now I have to be reasonable and actually try to salvage some kind of situation, and then things get dramatically better from there. And it gets saved. And the common thread through all these stories, and I didn't hear that many, so it's not like I've gone through some scientific study or something, but in all these stories, the common thread was the guy was like, I would rather die than participate in that. Like I would literally rather die than accept what you're offering me. So I'm not going to accept it no matter what. Whether or not I live or die depends on whether or not you are willing to stop trying to push this on me. But I'm not accepting it. I would rather die. And then I started thinking about the do or die mentality, the do or die, just the do or die frame of mind, do or die situation. Like, why does that save it? What's going on there? There's something special about this kind of mindset, the do or die mindset. And then I just started thinking about that in general. Like if you asked me, would I rather be fat or would I rather die? I would rather die. I would rather die than be fat. And I'm not fat. Like you could ask me all kinds of things about my life. Would I rather die or have this thing that I don't want? And in a lot of circumstances, like I would choose death over a lot of stuff. And that mindset is responsible for all the amazing things that have happened in my life. The do or die mindset has gotten me through so many different situations. It's gotten me out of situations. It's got me into good situations that I wanted. I'm living on my own island in the Caribbean, just living this incredible life where I build boats and I gotta check my fire here. I cook squash on a fire because that's what I want to do. And I'm doing all this stuff that I want to do, and I'm building inventions, and I have this life where I feel like I can improve my life through the future by things I'm doing. And all that whole thing, all of that is because I said I would rather die than live a normal life, than do the 9 to 5, blah, 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 blah thing. And, if you ask anyone who's in great shape, would you rather die or be fat? A lot of times they'll be like, oh, I'd rather die. And people's response to that is often, well, that's easy to say when you're in great shape. If you were fat, you wouldn't be so easy to say that. But it actually takes effort to be in great shape. The person has to be doing something. And I think the cause and effect are reversed there. Maybe they're in great shape, or more likely they're in great shape because they would rather die than not be, which means they're basically going to be in great shape until they die. Now, of course, things can happen. You can get in a car accident and, be in a coma for 4 months. But, all that stuff aside, we can't get stuck on the exceptions here. Bad stuff can always happen. But even in those circumstances, the person laying in the hospital bed, broken and beaten, and their body's destroyed, they're like, "Wow, I gotta fix this. I gotta come back." And that's the guy who goes through the rehab and gets back on their feet. And I was thinking about what like this do or die mentality. The more I think about it, the more important I think it is. And it's something that's been largely taken away from men in our current society, in our current civilization. I've often heard people talk about how men have become emasculated, and I would totally agree with that. Like in a lot of ways, men have become emasculated in modern society. And I think a lot of it comes down to the do or die situations being removed from us and the do or die attitude being ridiculed. If you approach something with a do or die attitude, people are like, dude, relax. Why are you getting so worked up about it? Come on. What's the big deal? Chill, man. It's like, no. I need to have the do or die attitude, or I'm not going to succeed. Yeah, but what's so important? What's so important? Why is that so important? It's so important because to be a man, I have to have that. Without that, I'm not a man. That's not what I am. Without that, I'm like a man, kind of like I'm like half a man or something. Maybe I'm like a feminine man. It's just like I'm not a full man. And if you think back through most of human history, like almost all of human history, men evolved in the circumstances of do and die situations over and over and over. Like every situation it defaulted down to do or die. Like you either figure out how to get food or you starve to death and your family starves to death. You figure out how to make a house or get a house, somehow get some shelter, or you die and everyone dies. You figure out how to get water or you die and everyone dies. Like men throughout history have evolved in the circumstance of the do or die situation. And it's specifically men, because women didn't evolve in this circumstance, because men were always the ones who were put in the do or die circumstance. I shouldn't say always, but generally speaking, because, and this is just a simple biological thing that's super obvious, because women carry babies. You can't put a pregnant woman in the do or die situation, because she has to be protected, which is why men protect women. But anyway, so men evolved in this do or die situation. And just to to close out that other point, I think I'd have to think about this more, but I think women more evolved in the like women's choices defined quality of life more. Like men's choices throughout most of history defined whether or not you would live. Like there was survival. Like the basic survival was always resting on men. But then the quality of life after that was mostly resting on women. And when I think about this, like it explains a lot of the arguments that I've had with women in my life, like in relationships, where we just can't see eye to eye. But when I look at it that way, it's like, oh, now I get her perspective, and I see why she didn't understand me and why I didn't understand her. It's because we evolved in different roles. And it's just crazy that in our modern society today, the genders are all just all this silly gender stuff it's making a mess of things. Like, who makes a terrible man? A woman. Who makes a terrible woman? A man. It's just does not work. And of course there are exceptions, like people are different, but like generally speaking, a man is much better at being a man and a woman is much better at being a woman. And I don't mean to be like, sexist or like rude or anything. But I mean, I guess it is sexist because I'm defining some differences in the genders, but I mean, it's just how things are, and the idea that that's not supposed to be how it is, and now people are fighting against that is, if you look at it through that filter, you can see how a lot of problems are created. And anyway, so what I ended up, I mean, this was going on. I was sucking mud out of the canal for like hours while I was thinking all this. But what I ended up coming to was like, okay, now this gives me some kind of like frame of mind, some way of thinking where I can improve my life with a very simple rule. Like, just approach every situation like it's a do or die situation. And I don't mean like every situation, if I'm just walking from here to over there, but like I'll like have all my intentions. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm doing it or I'll die. Like when I think about all the things I want to do in my life and, goals I have and all that stuff, I have to think about it in a do or die mindset. And people are going to say, oh, it's ridiculous. Why are you being, hey, you go inside. I know you're a boy, but you need to have a shirt on. Go. Anyways, you gotta, and when I think back of all the things that I've succeeded in, I've had do or die mindset. And whenever I haven't had the do or die mindset, I'm just like, well, let's just see how it goes. sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes things just, like, I'm trying to accomplish something that just drags on and on and on, and maybe I'll eventually get it done, but it just drags on. But whenever I have the do or die mindset, like, things happen. I get results, So whenever I'm online, like, I go on YouTube to upload my videos, and then sometimes I'll click on a few videos here and there, and I see a lot of videos about how to be a man. There's a lot of stuff about how modern society has kind of emasculated men, and how to be a better man, how to be a real man. And a lot of it is like, buy fancy cars and make lots of money and show off, show everyone how much money you have, and get lots of women, and just all this nonsense, superficial stuff that has nothing to do with survival. And now that I have this, now that I've kind of worked this all out in my head, this stuff sounds so ridiculous. Like, I thought it sounded ridiculous before, but now I get why it sounds so ridiculous. Like, get expensive cars and drive them fast. It's just nonsense. The do or die situation, that's what it is to be a man. To put yourself in the mind frame that you have goals and you got to accomplish them. And not goals of just frivolous nonsense. Goals to make life continue, to make it so that life can be good. That's what it is to be man. And all right, so I'm gonna, yeah, I'm just like putting that in my head, and it just when I put that in my head, it fills in so many blanks that were there before. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense, and that makes sense, and so many different things make sense. So that's my Christmas present to myself, is I'm sticking with do or die attitude. Let's see. Hello, Jason. I'm just gonna read comments now. I think I'm done yammering on. What time is sunset? It's about like 6, maybe a little bit after 6:10, somewhere around there. Oh, Merry Christmas, Jocelyn. How is everyone, Mr. Landfill and John? Merry Christmas. Hey guys, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, don't get married. Oh yeah. Well, speaking specifically about marriage, I might as well go into this a little bit. Like, becoming legally married doesn't make sense at all anymore. Like, becoming legally married, the point was that it was a contract. You're making a contract with another person, and, so that you could have children together and make sure someone's not going to screw it up. Someone's not going to leave or stop, just quit or whatever, Like, it was a legal contract to say, okay, we are going to stick together now. Now, when you have a legal contract, you can't just get out of it. Then it doesn't make sense anymore. But that's what marriage is now. Now marriage has become this legal contract that is completely non-binding. So what is the point of even doing it? It's like going to a bank and signing papers and getting $1 million loan, and then it just not being binding. You walk out of the bank and be like, yeah, I don't really feel like paying you guys back. You're cool with that, right? No, you get thrown in jail and you have to pay that back. But yeah, marriage now it's it's a contract that is worth nothing. It's worth less than nothing. It's like, it's just a trick. So yeah, there's literally zero reason to become legally married today. Now, hold on, let me just push my wood in there. Stuff your wood in the. Okay. I mean, getting married to someone in a spiritual sense, or just like agreeing with someone, that's the best thing we have now, is just like, getting on the same page with someone and saying, okay, this is what we're doing. Because the legal part of it, getting married in any kind of, government paper way, just it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Totally worthless. Yeah, don't get married. I mean, get married in a person-to-person way. Like, forget the legal document. There's a time and place for having a woman in your life. Yes, there is. It also depends on the woman, of course. And I'm talking, of course, about this from a man's perspective, but I'm sure women have plenty of difficulties with men too, and I'm not gonna. I don't mean to be this. I don't mean to make this a sexist thing or one-sided thing, but I am a man, so I can only talk about it from my perspective. So before anyone gets angry at me, the trick is not to push it when it's the wrong time and place. Well, maybe, I don't know. If you got this woman thing figured out, let me know, because sometimes you gotta suck out the mud to get clear water. That's true. I've been sucking out the mud all day, sucking that canal clean and clearing out my brains too. Get rid of the obstacles, keep moving forward as long as you are taking care of your food and shelter for you and your family is fine. Well, I got to do more than that because I don't have a woman in my house, so I have to take care of everything, which makes me think more. The more I think about everything I just spoke about, the more I think, oh yeah, it totally makes sense. Like a man and a woman working together is so much better. But yeah, you can't. It's not one of those things you can force. Oh yeah, and I'm cleaning out my canal with that mud sucker, and I'm cleaning out like a lot of mud. So it's gonna take several days to get it all cleaned out. At first, I was thinking, I'll clean out this much, but then I was like, whoa, it's just really deep mud because I haven't cleaned it out in a long time, and it's just been collecting. Your daughter listening to the story. How's it going? What are you thinking about all this? She's like, why are you talking to me now? Don't put me on the spot, Dad. She doesn't call me Dad. What do you call me?
John?
Whenever she needs to ask me something that's going to be annoying, she always says, Jaimie? Oh, so anytime she says, Jaimie, I'm like, oh God, what is it? No. Is there poop somewhere I need to clean up? Or anyway. Usually death isn't an option, even when life gets really, really rough. No, death is always an option. I mean, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. But yeah, we've kind of been convinced in our modern society that death should never be an option. That should never be something that you would even like. You can't even flirt with death. But to go back to the exercising analogy, like you want to get in good shape, you got to risk dying every time you exercise. Yeah, chances are you're not gonna die, but like, you have to make it. You have to make things harder for your heart and lungs, and if you're not doing that, they won't get stronger. Like you have to get closer to death to get stronger, and then death is harder to get to. The stronger you get, the further away death is. And the closer you can get to it, the stronger you get next time, And then just taking risks, like I don't know if I necessarily want my daughter to hear this right now, but you guys know this. When I sold my place in Vermont and went traveling to find this place, I didn't know this place was here. I didn't know where we were going. It was a huge risk, like a really big risk, just going on that journey, because I didn't know what the outcome was. I didn't know that I was going to survive it. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, huge risk, and that's the only reason we're here. Worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to take risks in life. Like if death is not an option, then you're crippled from taking risks. You can't do the things that improve life, because a lot of things that improve life, there's risk involved with them. A lot of times you have to let go of one safe thing to get to a better safe thing. You gotta let go of the one place to get somewhere else. And if you're so afraid of risking death or risking things going badly that you won't let go of anything, you're just trapped, and you just stagnate there, and you slowly die just sitting there. It's just like going back to the exercise analogy. You can sit on your couch, and it's safe. It's safer than going out for a run, where you might get hit by a car, or you might slip, or you might accidentally have a heart attack, or there's all kinds of things that. Sitting on your couch for that hour is going to be safer than going for a run. But you're going to end up weaker. And the next day, if you do the same thing, you're going to get weaker and weaker. And if every day you just sit on your couch, not making sure you risk your life as little as possible, you're gonna get weaker and weaker and weaker. You got to get out there and risk. You gotta take some risk. You got to risk death, or else you're not really living. Imagine having a baby can be a do or die situation. Oh, I imagine having a baby can be a do or die situation. It's not really a do or die situation having a baby. But all right, you're LOLing me there, so I'm gonna move on. You usually grew up in a tribe that had the basics figured out, then learned how to survive from your mom and other tribe members. Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, it depends. Depends on how you grew up. Maybe you had a tribe, maybe you didn't. There's a lot of history and a lot of things happen. Hey there. Hi, Sam. Love to all Diddler. Diddler. Oh, wait, Diddler, right. You're not sexist, you are genderist. I'm genderist, yes. It's just ideology wars. Men dislike being told a real man would. Oh, God, that's the worst. Oh, or how about man up? Oh. Because you know what the really irritating thing about man up is? Every time I can think of right now that I've been told to man up, it's like people trying to tell me to do the opposite of what a man would do, man up and just suck it up, just suck it up and don't make the hard decision that other people are trying to force you to not make. Don't make the right decision. Just capitulate. Is that the right word? Just conform, man up, conform, which is not what men do. You don't just conform. As a woman, well, hello, home planet woman. My best Christmas was me alone with no one depending on me, having Christmas dinner hot dog at 7-Eleven after I moved to the coast. Oh, I've had those Christmases. I haven't had 7-Eleven hot dogs, but yeah, I've definitely had a lot of the by myself Christmases with just whatever food was around. I don't know. We're probably gonna have pizza tomorrow, I think. We have had 40 years of neoliberalism and postmodernism. It's the mess we receive today as common sense. It's a mess. There is no common sense now, man. Sounds sad, HP. That's like your opinion or karma. Clearly, HP didn't find it sad at all. I don't know. I missed something there. Hi, you are awesome. Well, thanks, man. I don't know who you're talking to, but whoever's awesome is awesome. Hopefully I'm awesome. Am I awesome?
Best papa in the universe.
Yes! Now, I realize my children are massively biased toward me. So, if you have kids too, you can always also be the best papa in the universe to them. Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas to everyone. Yes. Becoming legally married was for my wife and me a reason to survive taxation because I was getting reamed as a bachelor. There's still reasons to do it, I guess. But what's interesting is the fact of getting married became something more to both. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Man, that's awesome that it worked out well. Hello to Aurora. This one's Bellatrix. Aurora's inside, but cool. Fan Tom. How does galvanized metal hold up in the tropics? You might as well just... you might as well just not even galvanize it. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, galvanized metal, it'll last a while. Until it gets splashed with some salt water, and then it's just like... okay, I'm exaggerating. A lot of people around here have galvanized metal roofs. But yeah, you have to replace them every 5 years, 10 years maybe, if you're really lucky. There are a lot of roofs on houses around here that just have rusty roofs with holes in them, and then they'll replace one piece. it'll go on like that for years until they finally are just replace the whole thing, and then it looks great for a few years and just starts falling apart. Why did you take the risk? What was so bad about Vermont besides the winters? Well, that entire sentence doesn't make sense. The winters are fine. I like winters, although you can't really. You guys quit bickering.
Okay.
You can't. It's pretty. Okay, I don't care. Tell me later. But when you have a long cold winter, it's pretty hard to grow your own food. So that was one problem. Another big problem was just the culture that was around me. Just, being in the United States, there were too many rules. I was getting hassled. I mean, I've talked about this before, but like one of the things that was really annoying was, I had the YouTube channel and I was on the news now and then for, making robots or, making my weird house and stuff like that. And then the tax man shows up and he's like, "Hey, I saw you on the news. You're like doing stuff. So we got to tax you more." And he comes up like, "You were on TV, so you must have money." And it's just like, no, I didn't get paid for that. And just, just the entire attitude was getting really frustrating. And just like everywhere I turned, people were saying, "You shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You shouldn't be doing that." And just the legal system was frustrating. Just so many different things were frustrating about the culture. And, I'm raising kids in this place where all the kids I see are just doing this on their phone all day. And I'm like, I don't want my kids to be raised like that. And homeschooling has become much easier now after the pandemics and stuff. I don't know what it is right now, but before you want to homeschool your kids, you got to fill out all these forms and, you get hassled and all this stuff. And, I was getting a lot of people threatening to call child services to have my children taken away. Mostly like idiots on YouTube who are just like, your children shouldn't be living in the woods because, I don't know, whatever. And, just the whole thing was just stupid. So I moved here and it's like, well, go ahead, threaten me all you want with your weird craziness. And still today, like any threatening messages I get, is she all right? Any threatening messages I get today are still from people in the United States. So, is she all right or not? Okay, she's just upset. But yeah, living here, and another thing is like, living in the United States, I couldn't build my own vehicles without just going through unbelievable amounts of paperwork and just, here I can build a boat and I can drive it around without getting thrown in jail, Let me check my wood. Hey, you want to get a skinny one of those and put it in? Let's see. Yeah, there were a lot of reasons. Yeah, put it in. And I mean, I guess it's just something I wanted to do, and it was worth the risk. Because improving your life is generally worth the risk. Just so many things are better now. Our best selves exist outside of our comfort zones. That's true. Get outside your comfort zone, baby. I believe an island has long been a dream of Jaimie's. That is true. Even before I moved to a mountain in Vermont. When I moved to the mountain in Vermont, I was thinking, this is pretty awesome, but this is my second choice. I've always wanted to live on an island. Even when I bought a mountain and moved to a mountain. The reason I didn't move straight to an island is because it was like, how can I do that? How can I possibly get my own island? Like, I don't have millions of dollars, and turned out to not be that expensive. I'm not going to say it wasn't difficult. I had to do a lot of traveling to find this place. But anyway, yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do. Not to put words in your mouth. You did, though. Very good. But I remember the plan you drew up years and years ago. Yeah, brilliant stuff, Jaimie. Why do you keep saying that you live in modern society? Why not say, in this day and age, if anything, you live in a postmodern community? Oh, God. I don't know. Yeah, that's just... I feel like that's just... I feel like you just ran around in a bunch of circles and got nowhere. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask me to explain it better. But if you know what I'm talking about, then what's the problem?
What are you talking about?
Shut up. She's like, what are you talking about? Jaimie, what is your guy's main source of protein? And do you have a main solar battery bank for lights in your family's houses? Thanks. Well, I could talk about my house. My main source of what's our main source of protein? Probably burgers. And hey, naked kid, go back inside. God,
What?
We just had a naked 3-year-old done. All right, I gotta turn this off. Ah. Sorry, everyone. Merry Christmas. All right, where's the button?